So, it's, oh shoot, I don't even know what day it is. The 22nd. Yesterday I met with somebody working at Purdue Calumet to talk about a position working in the Center for Innovation through Visualization and Simulation. And I didn't know much about them at the time. I knew that they worked with 3D graphics. I knew that they solved industry problems for local companies and they saved them lots of money. And I know that they had this like lab where they did some 3D visualization stuff. A friend of mine worked there and recommended that I go check it out, so I did. And I spoke with someone and they asked a bit about myself, and they began to tell me about what Civis is and what they do. It's actually not like a part of Purdue like the other departments are. They're not funded directly through Purdue, which is really cool because Purdue Calumet, I wouldn't want to be funded by Purdue Calumet. It's not really funded. It's more like, you know, when you beg your parents 10 times, can you have something, and then they get you the cheap one. So, anyway, what was I saying? They're not funded through Purdue Calumet. They're funded through the projects that they do for the community. Like, they saved NIPSCO millions of dollars. They solved a boiler issue that was you know, they were having some trouble that, I don't know what the company was, but they were having some kind of trouble with air intake. And then when they did it, they actually solved the problem where the boiler wasn't using all of the coal that was going in, so the company was wasting like $800 million a year on coal that was just going into their iron, which couldn't have been good for the iron that they're producing either, but interesting stuff. So I explained a little bit of where I wanted to go, and how right now what I'm focusing on is I'm decent at computer graphics and modeling. 2D art, as long as it's not Flash, you know, whatever, I'm fine with it. I can pretty much do anything that I want to accomplish with 2D art. 3D art, animation, modeling, texturing, rigging, that kind of thing in Maya, 3ds Max, Mudbox, and similar tools like that I'm really comfortable with at this point. It's kind of a new thing for me. I was not comfortable with it 2 years ago, but I am comfortable with it now. What else? Game engines I'm somewhat comfortable with. I did a couple of things in UDK, Unreal Development Kit, and that was fun, and I even got to pull in some outside script. And Unity is something that I'm just now starting to explore, so I'm getting used to those types of things, and I'm looking into a couple more. Game Maker is one of them. I can't remember what the other couple I downloaded this week were, but I want to try to explore what other, you know, game design programs there are, so I'm comfortable working in more engines. Ultimately, obviously, I want to work on the Fox engine. So I'm not sure how robust of a tool that is in terms of a game engine. It's more of a graphics engine, but we'll see. And then the third thing, there's graphics, there's engine, and then the third thing is code. And that I'm really just starting. I'm about 130 pages into my book. I'm coming. 130 pages into my book, learning C#. And the reason I picked it up is because, one, I really want to learn C and C++, and this was $6 at a local video store. So I picked it up, and I'm actually surprisingly comfortable with everything that I'm reading, considering the only coding I really took was in 2004. I took some Java, and it's the same thing. It really is the same thing, so it's exciting. So those were the three things that I told him I was looking at, and I told him ultimately what I want to do is get some experience in the game industry, I want to work on a game design project, and I ultimately want to become a game designer, leave this program, go to Los Angeles, and hopefully land a job at Kojima Productions doing game design. If not, then there's plenty of other places out there in Los Angeles that I'd like to work for, but that's like my goal, my dream right now. So he asked me, you know, told me a bit about the projects that they were working on. Most of what they do is hard mathematics, and he mentioned finite element analysis. I thought that was interesting. I just picked up that textbook. It's sitting in my van. I never planned on reading it, but now I can look into it. But what they do is they solve industry problems with mathematics. So, but then they need somebody to do the models that help them simulate it. So that's one place to use the modeling. And then, weirdly enough, he said that some of their recent projects have actually been games, and they've actually worked in Unity to create some games for some programs, and they were successes. So they might do it again. One of the main projects they're working on right now is kind of a fly-through for a medical facility to show how things work at this large. It's kind of like a lab that you refer things to, and they do test samples and stuff. And a lot of it's driven by robotics, so they want to show people how that all works. So that's heavily modeling influenced. And if they want it to be an interactive experience, which he said most of their things are interactive, they like to walk people through it, then it'll have to be built in some kind of engine. So probably, again, they'll go to something like Unity to run it. So this week, it sounded like it might be something that I would want to do, especially considering the fact that my friend Luke is working on a project there now, and the role that he currently has is something along the lines of lead artist, because he's working on this this modeling interactive program, and he is the most advanced person on the team when it comes to modeling, and they've got people working under him as artists, so he's lead artist. And if I'm working on a game design program and I'm doing the actual design, not only that, I forgot to mention that a lot of the projects that they work on are funded. But they actually have the time and the resources to work on things that aren't funded. Like they'll work with professors to put up a prototype of a program, an educational tool that they want to use and get a grant for. So they'll submit something to the National Science Foundation, for instance, and then it's up to the professor and the team with the grant money now to actually develop it into a full-fledged product. But Civis will help them develop the prototype for free. And even then, they have student projects that they work on if they have time throughout the semester. So I've never heard of charity at Purdue Calumet, but these people do work. They're well-staffed, they're well-paid, and they will do things for free if there's the opportunity to do so. So it's almost like a philanthropic organization. It's also the poster child of Purdue Calumet right now because they're the ones that are making a difference in the community. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever heard of, really. But I've got a 3ds scene file, 3ds Max scene file that I need to work on that contains, I believe, a wind turbine. And then I'm going to bring that into Unity and see what I can make out of it. So it's really up to me at this point it's really just to demonstrate that I can use the software, but it's also an opportunity to build a portfolio piece and an opportunity to, show how you can conceptually move from an idea to a game. So I'm studying up on Unity, getting some information from Luke hopefully this week, and then just trying to come up with a solid idea of how I'm going to implement one of these things. There's lots of things I'd like to do, but I want to make something simple and something that focuses on this model that I've been given. That was really like, we want to see what you can do, so you have a week to come up with this project, and then if it's good, then we'll find a place for you based on what you can do. It's good. It's not a full-time position, downtown Chicago doing game design. It might be a full-time position, I'm not sure, but it's still Purdue Calumet, it's still at the graduate level, but I might be able to walk away with a title, something like lead designer, or game designer, or technical artist, or something like that. Even gameplay programmer, if that's the direction that I want to go with this. So I'm really excited because now I have something that at the end of the summer I can put on a resume and transition directly from the role I'm at to a similar role at an actual company. I don't have the job yet, but that's what I'm working on. And that's where I'm at. So, thanks for listening.